Welcome to our webinar about breaking developer portal silos and how we believe a holistic approach to UX and technical writing can drive AI. First, a quick introduction. We are Kathleen and Adam. I'm from the Pronovix UX team, and Adam is a member of the technical writer team. We would love to take you with us on a journey where we dive into what our teams stand for and what challenges we experience when artificial intelligence comes into the picture. Our presentation will take around 20 to 25 minutes, and we will do our very best to answer your questions afterwards if you have any. So here we go. Please take it away, Adam.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Let's go back in time. Do you remember when developer portals were little more than browsable API catalogs? Back then, the audience was narrow, mostly developers. Documentation was technical, minimal, and often written by engineers as a side task. But as companies sought to grow their markets and serve broader audiences, including product managers, partners, and non-technical users, the purpose of developer portals had to evolve. Content needed to be broadened and user experience upgraded. Standards help unify structure. And new content types, guides, tutorials, use cases became essential players. And developer portals transformed into self-service ecosystems, onboarding users, supporting product adoption, and driving business outcomes. But even though developer portals evolved, it is interesting to see that many of the teams behind the scenes are still working in isolation or not cooperating as smoothly as would be preferred. In our experience, this becomes even more challenging when AI comes into the picture. To summarize, UX designers craft intuitive flows, technical writers create clear, useful documentation, but how often they truly collaborate? And when collaboration is missing, so is cohesion. Journeys feel fragmented, interfaces look polished but confused. Content exists but can't be found, so can't be used. So design without content is hollow, content without structure is invisible, and both fall short unless usability and information architecture are treated as shared responsibilities. And then AI comes into the picture as a new player in the game. We worked with an enterprise company that had thousands of documents across their developer portal. Their goal was clear: help users find the right information faster. To support this, they invested heavily in a powerful search interface, complete with categories, filters, and drill-down capabilities that, in theory, could guide users from high-level concepts all the way down to individual API endpoints. Their CMS was also equipped with supported structured content, metadata fields, and content relationships right out of the box. But in practice, the search didn't deliver. Results were often irrelevant or completely missing. So the company looked to AI for a solution. They plan to replace their search with a retrieval augmented generation model, hoping that AI would produce better answers. Well, it didn't. The tested AI tools couldn't generate anything useful either. When we investigated, the core problem was clear: the foundation wasn't there. The content team hadn't provided meaningful metadata. They didn't maintain consistent information architecture. Many URLs were broken, breaking the relationships between content pieces. Most critically, the actual information users needed was buried in PDFs stored in external system. Portal pages simply link to those documents without summaries, without content, and without anything machine readable. And so even a robot is sitting at a desk looking totally baffled, surrounded by messy notes and symbols. What does this story tell us? No single team can deliver a great developer experience alone. And AI has the appearance of bringing the solution, but does it bring the solution? How to start improvements then?
So, taking over again. What if we would set up an AI persona to figure out needs and behavior, to design for AI properly, and first of all, as a side note, I would like to mention that I will use the word AI here in the general sense, as it doesn't really matter what kind of AI we are talking about, the context will stay the same. Of course, personas smell of UX methodology. So why go back to that? Well, I believe that we can learn from basic UX processes. For example, when we want to set up a site's information architecture that reflects a company's unique context. So in this process, we look at input from stakeholders and real users to inform us about company goals and strategy on the one hand, but also about user requirements on the other hand. The first one needs to provide value for the other one to get value back. These findings result then in a list of required content, features, functionalities that will then be organized on the site in the best way possible, spiced up with defining how people will interact with the site. So now we are getting to the most concrete and directly visible parts of the story, setting up the structure of the individual pages and designing the user interface. So far, the general outline of the process. So the user needs phase is the part that will result in what we want to emphasize during this presentation. That user needs influence the way how a site is organized and how our different users can interact with it. So then what happens when AI is involved? We have described our human consuming users in the past and know how they consume in the traditional way. For example, manually, directly starting on the portal itself, or starting through Google, but then landing on the portal, etc. But these human users also start consuming with the help of AI. For example, during the user journey steps of discovering what is being offered on the portal, when having to make a decision about what is available, what is being offered, or when asking for support. What I really want to point out here is that AI is luring in as a user we haven't met before. AI consumes content to become a provider for another user, or human user, or another machine user, another AI. So what is needed for that in the background so that AI can shape the best output to be able to give the best possible input for that to that end user? And to make the most of our user profile for the AI persona, we piled together a persona card, or rather an archetype card, if you're a UX person in this case. And this is our first take on it. AI becomes more popular. So when we treat AI as a persona, we can easily list its characteristics, its needs, its typical behavior, and the way it will interact with the portal. I believe that a persona card can help us understand if the decisions we make around organizing the site and setting up content will benefit or hinder users, so in this case, the user AI. And to be honest, I know that letters might be a bit small to read, so we'll share it later as well after this presentation. Human user needs towards AI have the keywords of reliability and transparency, of course, or in-house UX research showed. So how does that translate into what is important to keep in mind when designing for AI? To provide good answers, AI should be able to consume through predictable and clear structure, but also through accurate information. AI should be able to recognize and find relationships and dependencies, semantic markers. And last but not least, AI needs accessible layout and content, keyboard navigation, for example, alt text, captions, etc., to make sense of all the presented information. In short, the AI output is only as good as the structure and content it relies on. So AI doesn't work without clear, structured, and meaningful content. We cannot just add AI as something new to the portal. We need to make sure that what we have is prepared for AI. Okay, sorry. To sum it up, think of AI as a new type of user. They don't see interfaces. They entirely rely on structured, accessible, meaningful content without clarity, connection, and good labeling. AI is not able to help either. That brings us to our next chapter on how contributing UX and Techwriter teams can help AI to strive. As AI becomes part of the whole user experience design, by being a consumer itself, the UX and technical writer teams need to align more than ever to build developer portals that are not only helpful to human users, but are also interpretable by machines, laying the foundation for AI-driven services. So where could UX and Techwriter teams collaborate? For example, Adam, you and your colleagues could join us, let's say during early UX discussions in which we define business goals, user needs, and requirements for next developer portal iteration, so that you can already start thinking about the content that is connected to all of that. Or we can create the given developer portal sitemaps together to make sure that user flows and content structure go hand in hand. Do you have any examples that stand out for you as a technical writer?
Yeah, an early content audit can help to identify what already exists and what is missing before the project enters into the design phase. Aligning upfront about what is expected of our work and communicating about our findings as soon as possible is really crucial. Or when we have our content-first approach, where content helps to shape the wireframes UX designers put together.
Yeah, exactly. I would also like to mention feedback loops to test both for usability and readability and comprehension.
Or final QA and accessibility reviews to ensure the portal works for people and systems.
Yeah, right. And these are only some of the examples, right, where it is important to bundle our forces to ensure the better outcome of our work for future users. So even if your teams don't sit together in the same meetings, they must work from the same roadmap. If you're a UX designer, involve your writers early. If you're a writer, ask to join, for example, information architecture discussions. If your organization wants to build for AI, your content strategy needs to support that goal. And at all time and at any cost, take accessibility guidelines also into account. You don't need the perfect tools, just better collaboration. To be honest, none of that is possible if your teams remain stuck in silos. And to be honest, we're just two sides of the same coin. So, Adam, that was quite a bunch of theory we had so far with some real-life examples as well, but on how we could work together. But do you have any more practical tips and tricks for us?
Let me share you with 5 practical actions you can take to boost your content's usability, discoverability, value for both your developers and the AI tools trying to use it. This part of the presentation is based on one of our recent blog posts. You can find a link in the resources section if you're interested in more details. So, action 1, a very important side note. Improving the AI readiness of your developer portal does not mean rebuilding everything from scratch. Prioritize high-impact content. Focus your efforts where it counts most. If you need an idea where to start, focus on the minimum viable documentation, which are your core API reference docs, your onboarding guides, and API overviews. And all of this must be in machine-readable format. Get that foundation solid first. Action 2, a targeted content audit, and this isn't just dusting things off, it's a structured process. First, collect an inventory, know what you have. Second, collect the data. You can use analytics, support tickets, user feedback, understand what's used, what's confusing, what's missing, find the pain points. Third, analyze the data, check accuracy, relevance, usage, find gaps, and look at the editorial process itself. How the stuff gets updated or not. And finally, apply changes based on what you learned to fix things. Strengthen content hierarchy and metadata. This is fundamental for both humans finding stuff and AI processing it. Here are some examples of messy URLs with auto-generating node IDs, versus clean, predictable URL aliases like API catalog/best product API/tutorial. The clean ones help humans and machines understand where the given topic fits by showing parent-child relationships clearly. And add clear and rich metadata, tags, categories, versions, features, supported product names, anything goes. Attaching meaningful labels to APIs and documentation pieces not only helps AI, but also allows filtering, for example, to create a very sophisticated filtering solution. This foundation allows AI tools to grasp how topics relate, enabling smarter search, personalization, and recommendation systems. So we discussed earlier how healthy content hierarchy and consistent metadata also improve human usability. These principles equally benefits machines. And make content discoverable internally and for AI with good internal linking, which isn't just for guiding human users. It actively helps, of course, AI models understand the relationships even further, identify topic clusters, make the AI better at finding and synthesizing information. And the most crucial one, convert legacy content to structured format. This tackles the common problem of old stuff hanging around because AI needs structure. Legacy documentation often lives in PDFs, Word files, or unstructured HTML. This is what we see, a landing page with useful information, call to actions, etc. But here is what AI sees, a raw HTML. And that raw HTML full of irrelevant metadata, in our case, is expensive for AI to process and hard to interpret. For example, converting old HTML pages to Markdown can make a huge difference. Markdown is 5 times more token efficient than HTML, meaning it's significantly faster and cheaper for AI to work with. So that's why it works adding a simple LLMs.txt Markdown file to your developer portal, a single accessible place for key background information and guidance. It's easy for humans to read, for maintenance, and easy for AI to understand. So, and everyone has old PDFs. Do you remember our example? So AI-based search engines cannot access external PDF content by default, of course. You can use Marker, Humatar, ChatPDF, and several other tools to extract information from PDF files. You can also drop a PDF in any ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini and get the same job done. So if your PDFs are living in an external platform, don't just link to them. Periodically import or sync key content from them into your portal. Extract and index that content in a structured way. If you can do more, show users and provide AI with summaries directly in the portal, but still let users open the full PDF if needed. Let me wrap up with a glimpse into what might be coming and why UX and technical writers must stand together at the front lines of this shift. Agent-to-agent protocol and model context protocol are complementary standards for building robust agentic applications. Well, these are protocols for AI interoperability. So MCP, a model context protocol, it connects agents to tools, APIs, and resources with structured inputs and outputs. You can think of it as the way agent assess their capabilities. Agent-to-agent protocol facilitates dynamic multimodal communication between different agents as peers. It's how agents collaborate, delegate, and manage shared tasks. Let me show you a practical example. What you see here is a screenshot from Cherryleaf's using model context protocol for technical writing YouTube video. You can find the link below and we'll share it with you later as well, where Alice Brett demonstrates how you can use MCP to boost your work with AI as a technical writer. And I'm going to walk you through this demo part quickly. So you can define an MCP JSON file. So it is recommended to be a structured JSON file, of course, with metadata, such as you can add the project name, version, purpose, target audience, style, and tone. You can even add references to style guides. Of course, you also need to make sure that it is also AI friendly. You can also add additional guidelines with included and excluded content pieces, and structural guidelines, and so on. And you can refer it into your prompt. And AI, with this approach, you provide enough and rich context that consumes fewer tokens, plus it will be easier to maintain your smart prompt. Because of version control, JSON is optimal both for humans and machines, and the output will be more structured and aligned with your fundamentals. And of course, we can go even further. And MCP and A2A communication goes, step even higher here and promises the world of super assistants. Once they arrive, they plan to radically change how developers interact with APIs and technical products and developer portals. And these agents won't just suggest documentation or solutions. They will be the interface. So there will be no traditional UI, no traditional user journeys, just bots calling bots. Instead of browsing a developer portal, for instance, users will talk to an assistant like, hey, give me a sample app for this API, create a Postman test for this use case and such. But here is a catch. No matter how smart these assistants get, and they will get smarter, they will still be completely dependent on the quality of the content they are built on. If we don't fix what's broken, clarify what's vague, structure what's chaotic, then even the most powerful assistants will stumble. They'll guess, they'll hallucinate, and they'll frustrate. So ultimately, bad foundation equals clumsy AI. This is the paradox. We are building the future, but it might run on today's forgotten pages. The missing tutorials, the stale credentials guide, deprecated endpoints no one updated. So here we are right now.
Yeah, we've come to the end. Thank you, Adam. So before we talk about the future, we really need to prepare the present first. We need to fix what's broken, structure what's unstructured. I'm only repeating what Adam said, but I couldn't emphasize it well enough. Update what's been forgotten, document what only lives in someone's or more people's heads. When we work together, the results are exponential. And when we clarify a flow, write a better guide, fix a navigation path, or introduce a glossary, we're helping already real users right now, but will also help the AI tools. So here's the invitation. Let's collaborate now, let's fix what we can, and let's keep learning and evolving. Let's do the craft that we love together. If you would like to assess your developer portal health and AI readiness, feel free to submit your input through our self-assessment form that you can reach from the pronovix.com site. We've prepared this kind of quiz with UX and technical writing related questions so that we can assess developer portal health, your current status, and see better how to prepare well for the future. Well, we've come to the credits and resources. I would like to send lots of kudos to all the thinkers out there. This is our extensive list of credits and resources. So here was another one and another one. Well, that was it. We hope you enjoyed the show. And now, do you have any questions for us?